Imagine you and I have the exact same job, same title, same experience, same salary, same manager. Tomorrow morning, we both show up to work. But by the end of the day, I've completed 3 projects while you finished one. I've written documentation you haven't started, built a dashboard our team has wanted for months, summarized a week's worth of meetings, drafted tomorrow's presentation, and I still left the office on time. I didn't work harder, I wasn't smarter, I just worked differently. Now imagine that happens every day, every week, every month. Who gets the next promotion? Who gets trusted with bigger projects? Who becomes indispensable? That's the real question AI is forcing all of us to ask. Not will AI replace my job, but what happens when the person sitting next to me learns how to use it? Here's the uncomfortable part. That person already exists. They're not hypothetical. They're not in some future you can prepare for later. They're on your team right now. Maybe in the next cubicle. Maybe in the next Zoom square. And they're about to become very hard to compete with. If you've spent any time on LinkedIn or YouTube lately, you've probably seen the headlines. AI is replacing software developers. AI is replacing designers. AI is replacing customer service. Depending on who you listen to, we're either entering the greatest economic boom in history or the beginning of mass unemployment. Every week there's a new statistic, a new prediction, a new expert with total confidence in an opinion that contradicts last week's expert. Honestly, I don't think either extreme is very helpful. Fear sells clicks, and so does hype. Neither one helps you make a decision on Monday morning. Because while everyone's arguing about whether AI will replace people, something much quieter is already happening. Underneath the headlines, inside actual companies, to actual coworkers of yours, AI is changing what it means to be valuable. Not someday, right now. Quietly, without a press release. Think about something we all take for granted now. Email. There was a time when knowing how to use email was actually a competitive advantage. People got promoted because they could type fast and respond quickly. Then, spreadsheets. Knowing how to build a formula used to make you the smartest person in the meeting. Then, the internet. And then smartphones. Today, nobody gets hired because they know how to use Excel. Those tools stopped being advantages. They became expectations. And here's the part that matters. Nobody sent out a memo announcing that shift. It just happened. 1 year, it was impressive. A few years later, it was assumed. The people who didn't adapt didn't get fired in one dramatic moment. They just quietly stopped being the ones considered for the next opportunity. And I think AI is following the exact same path. Right now, it feels optional, a curiosity, something that quote-unquote tech people mess around with. But soon, being comfortable working with AI may simply become part of being a modern professional. Not because every job becomes an AI job, but because every job becomes AI assisted, the same way every job quietly became email assisted, and spreadsheet assisted before that. The shift is invisible while it's happening. It's only obvious in hindsight. Here's the part I think people are missing. AI isn't just making people faster, it's lowering the cost of turning ideas into reality. Let me show you what I mean with one real kind of scenario, not a list of industries. Picture an HR generalist, not a technical person, never written a line of code in her life. For 2 years, she's been asking IT for a simple internal tool, something to track onboarding tasks across departments. It's always been low priority, too small to justify a developer's time, too annoying to keep doing by hand in a spreadsheet. One Tuesday afternoon, she sits down, describes what she needs in plain English to an AI tool, and by the end of the day, she has a working prototype. Not perfect, not enterprise grade, but working. Something her whole team starts using by Friday. She didn't become a developer. She didn't take a coding boot camp. She just stopped waiting for permission to solve a problem that she was closest to. Will AI replace professional software engineers? Only time will tell. Right now, someone still needs to build the real thing, secure it, scale it, maintain it. But it changes who gets to take the first swing at a problem. That HR generalist isn't a special case. She's the shape of what's happening in marketing, in finance, in operations, in classrooms and hospitals, quietly one small prototype at a time, built by people who were never supposed to be quote-unquote technical. The people who learn to work with AI suddenly find themselves capable of things that used to require an entire team. Not because they become experts overnight, because the tools have changed what's possible for an ordinary person on an ordinary Tuesday. This is the part where most AI videos tell you to master prompting, learn 27 new tools, automate everything before lunch. And I don't think that's the answer. Remember that other version of you from the beginning? The one who finished 3 projects while you finished 1? Here's what they actually did. Not some elaborate system, 3 ordinary decisions made consistently. First, they got comfortable. They picked one AI tool, not the best one, not the one influencers are hyping that week, just one. And they used it every day on something small and real until it stopped feeling foreign. You don't need to master everything. You just need to stop feeling intimidated by it. Second, they stayed curious. Every time a repetitive task landed on their desk, they asked one simple question. Could AI help me do this differently? Not because it always would. Half the time, the honest answer was still no. But asking the question every single time rewired how they approached their entire job. Third, they spent the time they got back on purpose. This is the one people skip. They didn't use AI just to finish their assigned work faster and then scroll their phone for the leftover 20 minutes. They used that time to solve a problem nobody assigned them, helped another team, fixed a process everyone complained about, but nobody owned. That's the kind of work people remember when it's promotion season. None of this required them to become an AI expert. It just required them to be slightly more comfortable, slightly more curious, and slightly more generous with the time they got back. Repeated often enough, it compounded. Here's why I don't believe AI is really the story. The story is adaptability. Every major technological shift has rewarded people willing to learn before they were forced to. Computers, the internet, cloud computing, smartphones, and now, AI. The tools will keep changing. Today's favorite AI model probably won't be tomorrow's. The specific app that HR generalists used might not even exist in 3 years. That's not a reason to wait until things settle down. Things are never going to settle down. That's the actual pattern if you zoom out far enough. Constant, ongoing change, not a temporary disruption followed by stability. But if you become the kind of person who's comfortable learning new tools, comfortable experimenting, comfortable solving problems in new ways, you'll keep adapting long after today's AI headlines are forgotten. The same way the people who adapted to email and spreadsheets kept adapting to whatever came next, without even thinking of it as a special skill. So, will AI replace some jobs? Almost certainly. Will it change almost every job? I think that's already happening, quietly in the background of ordinary Tuesdays. But I don't believe the biggest risk is AI itself. I think the biggest risk, or the bigger risk, is standing still while the world keeps moving around you. Go back to that thought experiment from the beginning. Same job, same title, same manager. 2 versions of you, one Monday morning. That gap between us, 3 projects finished versus 1. It was never about talent. It was never about who was smarter. It was about who decided on some ordinary day to stop being intimidated and start being curious. That version of you isn't a fictional character I made up for a script. It's available to you starting tomorrow morning. You don't need to become an AI expert. You don't need to chase every new tool. You don't need to panic. You just need to become someone who's willing to learn, willing to experiment, and willing to adapt. Because AI probably won't replace you, but someone who's learned how to use it just might. And there's no reason that someone can't be you.